Stories in today's video. 1. My boyfriend's ex wrote a letter to me. I feel really strange and jealous even though it was a nice letter too. I 28F literally just found email after email from my fiance 27 meters to his ex-girlfriend 20s F belittling me and making fun of me and worse. I am seriously shocked beyond belief. 3. My 22F parents 42F 44M are unbearable after the death of my fiance 23F and I don't know how to cope. My boyfriend 26 was in a relationship with a girl for 3 years from 20 to 23. She's from the other side of the world and missed her home too much, so eventually she went back and that's why they broke up. Over the 9 months that I've been with my boyfriend, he's told me a few things about her, all positive. From his friends I heard that they were the dream couple and that she was a very kind and lovely person. Some said that they think he's never going to love again like he loved her, which obviously hurt. Well, today it got weird. Apparently when they broke up she gave him a letter. Amongst other things it says that she wishes him happiness blah blah. But then it says that he should give another letter to the girl he finds love with again. Apparently she enclosed that letter. He gave it to me unopened. I didn't know what to expect. But she was so nice in her letter. Basically said I'm very lucky to have his love, that I should cherish it and that I must be a great person if he's chosen me. Then she included some anecdotal tips on how to make him happy. I just feel weird. This woman seems to be a saint. I don't know how to feel about this letter and the whole thing. Should I contact her? But what would I even say? Isn't it strange that my BF or anyone else hasn't mentioned a single negative thing about her? Somehow this letter made me jealous because I could feel a level of closeness that I don't have with my boyfriend. What should I make of this? TLDR. Link to my update post. My fiance, Dale, and I have been together for 5 years. We are as solid as I guess anyone thinks they are before something like this blindsides them. I am in total and complete shock. I'm just sitting here shaking. I can't even cry yet. Dale is at work right now. I haven't texted him or called him or anything at this point. When we got together he had just broken up with his college sweetheart. She was his first love. I was afraid I was rebound. He said that wasn't true. I believed him. Rest is history. Sorry as this is rushed and all over the place. Nothing makes sense in my head right now. I used his laptop about 2 hours ago to open his contacts list he has saved on there so I could get addresses for our wedding invites. Been telling him to get those to me for over a week, so I decided to do it. He keeps his contacts info on his email. When I opened his email, I saw an email on the very top of his inbox with the subject line, Jen, not real name, how can I when? The subject line got cut off after that, so I couldn't see more without clicking. Jen is the name of his ex from college. I sat there for at least 10 minutes trying to decide if I should open it or not. I decided he should have nothing to hide, so I did it. Rest of the subject line was, Jen, how can I when you still exist? The email was her replying to a string of emails between the two of them that has gone on for over a week. Long story short, Dale is still in love with Jen. He thinks about her constantly. He'll never find another woman like her. Even worse is that he makes fun of me and she laughs about it. One email she asks him why I don't make him happy and isn't he satisfied with me? I can't remember word for word, and I don't feel like reading it again, but he said something like, she tries. She's just not good though, way too vanilla. I love her, but the only way I can get off is when I think about King you and how wet you'd get. I think every inch of my bed was soaked from your P*SSY. I have the biggest hard on just thinking about it. And then she answered with a bunch of lol*s and said she felt sorry for the poor girl. Another thing he said was that he made fun of me for having a large scar across my chest, onto my left breast, which has disfigured the nipple a bit. He said it looked like something out of Edward Scissorhands. That is almost too much to bear. He might as well have punched me in the gut. I was in an awful car accident when I was a teenager. I had a big piece of dashboard shatter and basically fly into my chest. I almost died. I've never been ashamed of the scar. It's like a constant reminder that I survived something a lot of people don't, and I should be grateful to be alive. The slight disfigurement of the nipple doesn't bother me either. I've always had the attitude of, if someone doesn't want me because of a nipple, F***K them. But to hear him make fun of something he knows is a result of something so major in my life, my friend was thrown from the backseat and lost her life, is just. I have no words. The emails go on. Some are explicit. One she described how she just disturbed Ted while thinking about how he used to go down on her for hours. I'm assuming that these emails are just a small portion of their contact. The first email in the thread was Dale talking about how he doesn't think he can marry me and that he thinks about leaving me almost constantly. He said if she lived in this state he'd already have left me. It didn't sound like the first time they'd reconnected, so I'm guessing if I snooped I'd find texts too. I don't need to snoop further. I've seen all I need to. Obviously I'm not going to stay. Despite what he said about me, I'm pretty great and I know this. He said he misses backdoor. Apparently I'm too vanilla to give it to him. Thing is, I've tried to initiate that as I enjoy it and he told me he wasn't into that. So he lied, just to cast me in bad light. I'm so **** mad I just want to throw his ***T into a pile and light it on fire. But I won't, because I don't want to give him the satisfaction of knowing how much he hurt me. I'm not sure why I posted here. It's too fresh to talk to my friends and family. Should I just pack my stuff and leave with no explanation? Just ghost? I've got too much dignity to scream and cry in front of him. I don't know what to do. I don't know if I want comfort or advice or what. I just needed someone to know what happened so I don't feel so alone right now. **TLDR**** fiance made fun of me and sent explicit emails to his ex. Just found them. Heartbroken, angry, hurt, every emotion ever going on. Don't know if I should just ghost him and never see him again or confront him? Confront him? Confront him? Confront him? Confront him? TLDR, my parents have been trying to get me to move on really fast, get me to do all my CL***SS work as if nothing happened, are pretty homophobic, and have been calling my late fiancé terrible things and I do not know how to cope. So, I woke up to my fiancé being dead on Wednesday, April 1, 2020. She died unexpectedly and I don't want to go into the details of her death with strangers yet, but it has been the largest, most traumatic event of my life. On the first day, I called her parents, 50s MF, who came and picked me up to stay with them for a week because my parents lived across the country and I just couldn't handle being alone in our apartment anymore. Me and her family, which are very kind and accepting people, grieved together and comforted each other. They were extremely sweet and kind people and I was very lucky to get to stay with them when it first happened. However, my parents were also informed of my fiancé's death and made the long, multiple-day drive across the country to come. They packed up my apartment for me because I just couldn't go back there, which was very kind of them, and picked me up the night after her funeral to take me to my childhood home. The first thing my mom did was complain about her own problems and how disrespectful, inconsiderate I was to not thank her right away or something. I don't really remember exactly what it was about, but I didn't have the energy to argue or put up with her, so I just mumbled some answers and tried to remain quiet. Then, later in the night as we were trying to go to sleep, my mom decided to start asking why my fiancé didn't care for her that much and I explained it was because she is homophobic. My mom then went into a huge screaming tirade about how she didn't want her daughter to be a lesbian. I remember her actual quote being, "Well, I'm sorry that I don't want my daughter to become a lesbian." And how us holding hands when she visited us last year was extremely disrespectful. When she visited us last year, she made my fiancé break down and cry so hard I had to drive my fiancé somewhere to be without my mom for an extended period of time. I just cried quietly to myself until she stopped screaming and we went to sleep. Around the first few days after my fiancé's death, I would wake up crying and in a panic. Her parents would just hug me and we would cry and talk until I was able to calm down, but my mom that morning reacted by screaming at me. She was saying things like, "Stop crying," and "I hate fiancé now," and "If she was alive, I'd kill her because you just keep crying." And just similar stuff. It made everything worse and I just wanted to throw up for the beginning of our long drive home. She also kept taunting me by saying she was going to put me in a mental health hospital or whatever it's called. On the drive home, she kept bringing up negative topics any chance she got. During all these she called my fiancé a SLT and a WH-re. She said that my fiancé looked like someone who would sleep around, and just tried to disgrace her character. She then tried to convince me that my fiancé was toxic and controlling. She wasn't, and that she must have been abusive because she was driving a wedge between me and my family. It hurt me to even think that fiancé was abusive when she did nothing but care about me and was tender and loving to me. When I was talking about how smart and beautiful my fiancé was, she kept saying I was smarter and prettier than my fiancé, which just made me feel incredibly crappy. Sometimes, she would then have these strange mood swings where she would say, if I could, I would kill myself so fiancé could be alive. That's what you really want, don't you? And when she would ask that, she would demand an answer and I just didn't know how to answer and I would end up crying harder. She also kept trying to say she knows what I'm going through and I have to toughen up, but she married the first person she ever dated, so she never even went through a breakup before. She would also continuously joke about how she was going to buy me a BL*W up doll and dress her in my fiancé's clothes, and it just made me feel so sick and uncomfortable and terrible when she would make that joke. She still makes that joke and now has my dad in on it. When we got home, I thought I was going to stay with my grandparents, 70s MF, but my mom informed me that I would have to stay with her or my sister, 20F, because I might have the coronavirus and she wouldn't want me to give it to my grandparents, who currently have my emotional support cat at their house because my parents and sister both have dogs. My childhood best friend, 20F, also came over to stay with me for a couple weeks, which is a blessing, but she only feels comfortable staying with my parents because my sister doesn't take good care of her house. So, I'm currently at my parents' house. Anyway, the day I got home, I went to my sister's house for a little bit to get away from my parents, but my dad just ended up calling me on my phone and screaming at me that I only have a week, starting from Friday, to cry and get over it, then I would have to work and not be seen moping around or upset about it again. He also continued to call my fiancé a selfish bitch and told me that I needed to forget about her and get on with my life. This made me just break down. I called my mother-in-law, for lack of better term, and just cried to her about everything, and I think she really doesn't like my parents now. But, she told me that they are just trying to make me feel better by treating this like a breakup. My fiancé's family is extremely religious, but accepting, and so they believe that like people need to be with their blood families to heal, so I think they're just having a difficult time understanding how my parents could be so mean, but they're starting to understand every time I talk to them about it. However, they're on the other side of the country and there is nothing they can do about it now anyway other than listen when I call them. My parents don't want me to call them because they say that her family needs to grieve and I'm bothering them, so now I'm really worried I'm just bothering her parents. I also made it clear to my parents that I'm changing my last name to hers because that was our plan when we got married and it was important to me still, and at first, when I told them on the phone a few days after she *SSED, they seemed okay with it, but now that I'm here, they're throwing a huge dramatic show about it. They keep screaming about it and telling me that I can't change my name to a SL*T's name and that nobody would love me if I changed my name to hers, and I'm just so worried that maybe they're right, but I feel like it's necessary. My parents' dog also has been growling at me every day because I'm new to him. They got him while I was gone and living with my fiancé, and my dad today yelled at me to stop moping around, so the dog will stop growling at me because he thinks the dog growls at me due to my coldness or something. I don't know. I ended up breaking down in the shower because it's the only place I can be alone anymore. My room doesn't have a door, and I desperately miss my fiancé and the life we made together. I'm ashamed that I'm 22 and am living with my parents right now, and I'm just depressed and anxious and scared. None of my coping mechanisms I have learned from my depression and anxiety therapist have worked, and I don't know what to do anymore. What can I do to make my parents more empathetic and caring? I've always been somebody who just needs to be held and told sweet things to when bad stuff happens to make me feel okay again, but they're just making everything worse. When I talk to them, they just shrug it off. One time, I asked my mom if she could be nicer to me and she said, I am being nicer than usual. I don't know what to do anymore. I just need to know what to tell them so they stop all this and become kind and sweet and consoling. I just need it, and her family knew I needed it, but they, for some reason, don't understand. I've been hugged and cuddled more by my once-to-be in-laws than by my own parents after all this happened. Please tell me what to do to get them to understand and treat me better. Or just tell me what I should do. I don't know anymore. I'm struggling. Thank you for reading. Sorry for the long post. Please leave your suggestions of what I should do below.